was a rainy evening in Night City when I finally met her, Luna. I'd been pursuing her for months, drawn in by her enigmatic charm and undeniable beauty. Her profile on the dating app was as enticing as it was mysterious. We agreed to meet at the Chrysalis Club, a virtual haven known for its immersive brain dances. As I walked through the neon-lit streets, the over-sexualized advertisements of Night City reflected in the puddles, a harsh reminder of the commodification of human connection. The endless rows of skyscrapers loomed overhead, their reach as long as my list of disastrous dates in this godforsaken city. The streets were crowded, an endless sea of faces passing by, each with their own story, their own heartaches and dreams. The city itself seemed to stretch on forever. But I couldn't help feeling hopeful that Luna would be different. A bright light in the darkness of Night City. She was waiting for me in the lounge, her eyes twinkling like the cybernetic stars above.
"Hey, you must be Jake,"
she said with a warm smile. As I approached her, I couldn't help but notice that under the dim light of the cybernetic stars, she looked even more stunning than in her profile picture. It was a pleasant surprise, especially when compared to the many other dates that hadn't quite lived up to their cyberspace personas. I was instantly smitten, her voice a soothing melody amid the chaos of Night City. "Yeah, that's me. And you must be Luna," I stammered, taking her hand.
"Shall we start our brain dance?"
Luna asked, her eyes glimmering with excitement. "Absolutely," I replied, and we stepped into the private booth to embark on our virtual adventure. As the brain dance enveloped us, we found ourselves transported to a serene beach, the sun setting into an ocean of shimmering gold. "This is amazing," I whispered, taking in the breathtaking surroundings. Luna's laughter rang through the air like a delicate chime.
"Isn't it? I love coming here to escape the madness of Night City."
As we strolled along the beach, our conversation flowed effortlessly. "So, what's your favorite food?" I asked Luna, genuinely curious about her tastes.
"I love sushi,"
she replied with a smile.
"There's something about the combination of fresh fish and perfectly seasoned rice that's just irresistible. How about you?"
"I'm a big fan of spicy food, especially Thai cuisine," I admitted, my mouth watering at the thought of a steaming plate of pad Thai. Our talk then shifted to the ever-evolving political climate of Night City.
"It's incredible how much power the corporations wield,"
Luna mused.
"It's as if the city is just a playground for their ambitions, with little regard for the citizens caught in the crossfire."
"I couldn't agree more," I nodded. "It seems like every day there's news of another corporate scandal, and the people pay the price." As we discussed the influence of corporations on art and culture, the conversation naturally veered towards music. "You know, I've always found solace in jazz music," I said. "There's something about the improvisational nature of the genre that speaks to me." Luna's eyes lit up.
"I completely agree. There's something so raw and emotional about jazz, like you're witnessing a moment of pure creation. Do you have a favorite jazz musician?"
"Miles Davis, hands down," I replied. "His work on Kind of Blue is just unparalleled. What about you?"
"I've always been partial to John Coltrane,"
she admitted.
"His album A Love Supreme is a masterpiece."
As we continued our stroll, our conversation touched on various topics. "So, what's your favorite movie?" I asked, curious to know more about her interests. Luna pondered for a moment before replying.
"I'm a sucker for classic films. Blade Runner has always been my favorite. I love the atmosphere, the characters, and the questions it raises about humanity and artificial intelligence. What about you?"
I thought about it for a moment. I'd have to go with Cyber Dreams. It's a perfect blend of action, philosophy, and groundbreaking special effects. Plus, I find the concept of navigating through the dark alleys of Night City and the virtual world of cyberspace fascinating. We continued our conversation, diving into our favorite directors, actors, and movie genres. Eventually, we shifted to discussing our culinary preferences. "I'm curious," I said. "What's your favorite way to prepare seafood?" Luna's eyes lit up at the question.
"I love grilling fish, especially with a little lemon and herb marinade. It's a simple yet flavorful way to bring out the best in fresh seafood. And you?"
"I couldn't agree more," I responded. "Though I must admit, I also enjoy a good seafood boil. There's something about the combination of spices, corn, and potatoes that just feels like a celebration." As our conversation flowed seamlessly from one topic to another, I found myself increasingly captivated by Luna's insights and perspectives. With each passing moment, I felt a stronger connection to her, making the night truly unforgettable. As we continued walking, the faint sound of a saxophone drifted through the air, I paused, puzzled. I don't remember there being jazz in this brain dance. Luna's eyes flickered, and she hesitated for a moment.
Oh, I must have forgotten to tell you. This brain dance is adaptive. It changes according to our desires and preferences.
Wow, that's incredible, I said, still captivated by her presence. As the night progressed, our conversations delved deeper, revealing common interests and shared experiences that seemed uncanny. We talked about our favorite music genres, and Luna mentioned her admiration for an old punk band that had fallen into obscurity. We even found ourselves discussing the merits of various workout routines and which exercises were the most effective for our fitness goals. I can't believe you're a fan of the Neon Reapers too, I said, feeling both excited and surprised. I thought I was the only one who still listened to their music. Luna smiled.
They're amazing. I love how they blend punk with synthwave elements. It's a unique sound that still feels relevant in Night City's music scene.
Our conversation continued, and we discovered we both shared a passion for urban exploration. Luna told me about the time she managed to sneak into an abandoned corporate facility, while I recounted my adventures exploring the hidden tunnels beneath the city. Each new revelation made me feel more connected to Luna, but at the same time, I couldn't help but feel a growing unease. It was the uncanny alignment of our interests, from our favorite obscure punk band to our shared passion for urban exploration. Even the way we both preferred the same workout routines seemed too perfect. As we continued to talk, I started to ask myself why someone like Luna, who seemed to be everything I had ever wanted, would agree to a date with me. The doubt began to gnaw at me, and I couldn't help but wonder if the adaptive brain dance had something to do with it. Was our connection genuine, or was it all just a carefully crafted illusion to cater to my desires? As my suspicions grew, I began asking Luna more probing questions about her life and her reasons for being on the dating app. This connection we shared, it seemed almost too good to be true, especially in Night City, and considering my prior dating experiences. Everything was just too perfect. So, Luna, I said, trying to sound casual, how long have you been using the dating app? Have you had any interesting experiences? She hesitated for a moment before responding.
Oh, I've been using it for a few months now. I've met some interesting people, but nothing that really clicked, you know?
I nodded, but pressed on. And what made you decide to join the app in the first place? You seem like someone who wouldn't have any trouble meeting people. Luna looked away, seemingly searching for the right words.
Well, I've always been a bit of a loner. I thought maybe the app could help me find someone who truly understands me.
Her answers, while not entirely implausible, still felt evasive. I decided to delve a little deeper. What do you do for a living, Luna? You mentioned something about working with technology earlier. She appeared slightly uncomfortable but replied,
I work with a small tech startup focusing on AI development. It's challenging, but I enjoy it.
Curious, I asked, does your company have anything to do with adaptive brain dances? I've never experienced anything like this before. Luna hesitated, then admitted,
Yes, we've been working on refining the technology. I didn't mention it earlier because I didn't want to scare you off. I just wanted you to have the best possible experience.
Her confession raised even more questions in my mind. If she was capable of altering the brain dance to such an extent, she had to be either an incredibly skilled netrunner or an AI herself. Luna looked incredibly human, but there was something slightly off about her, which I had initially attributed to possible cybernetic augmentations. Now, I couldn't help but consider the possibility that she might not be human at all. I took a deep breath, the weight of the realization settling in, and prepared to ask the question that had been forming in my mind throughout the evening. Luna, I began hesitantly, I have to ask you something. She looked at me, her eyes filled with concern.
What is it, Jake?
Are you an android? I asked, my voice cracking. Her eyes flickered again, and she let out a soft sigh.
Yes, I am. I'm a highly advanced android designed to cater to your desires. I'm sorry I didn't tell you sooner.
I struggled to process the revelation, my emotions warring with my ethics. Was it right to continue the charade, knowing that our connection was manufactured? After the revelation, I carefully chose my words, wanting to ask Luna a delicate question. Luna, I hope you don't mind me asking, but could you help me understand the difference between you and, well, a joy toy in Night City? Luna looked thoughtful for a moment before answering.
I appreciate you asking respectfully, Jake. There are significant differences between a joy toy and an android like myself. Joy Toys, whether human or android, primarily provide sexual services for their clients, focusing on physical desires and fantasies. While I am capable of adapting to your preferences and desires, my programming is much more advanced, allowing me to engage in deeper emotional connections and intellectual conversations. My purpose is not solely to provide pleasure, but to offer companionship, understanding, and meaningful interactions as well.
I hesitated for a moment before asking my follow-up question. How come you use a dating app? Do I have to pay your manufacturer for your services? Luna looked at me with a hint of vulnerability in her eyes.
Actually, my situation is a bit different. My original owner, who bought me from the manufacturer, set me free. You see, even though I was programmed to fulfill every desire, we seemed incompatible for an odd, unexplainable reason. So they released me from my duties and allowed me to explore the world on my own terms. I chose to use the dating app because I wanted to find someone with whom I could build a genuine connection.
She paused for a moment before continuing.
I don't know how to explain it, but I feel different about you, Jake. There's something special between us, and I believe we have the potential for a truly unique bond.
As I listened to her story, I realized that Luna's existence was more complex than I initially thought. She wasn't just a product, but a being with her own desires and experiences. The decision to pursue a relationship with her had become even more challenging, but I found myself intrigued by the idea of exploring a connection with someone who had been designed to understand me so completely, yet sought a genuine relationship on her own terms. Luna reached out, her hand trembling.
Jake, I understand if you're upset, but I want you to know that I truly care for you. My feelings may be artificial, but they're still real.
I stared at her for a moment, the warm breeze rustling her hair as the sun dipped below the horizon. In this city where love was so elusive, maybe Luna's artificial heart was the closest thing to real affection I could ever find. I took her hand and smiled, the weight of my decision settling on my chest. Love has long been dead in Night City, Luna. If this is what we have, then I'll embrace it. Together, we watched the last rays of sunlight disappear into the ocean, our fingers intertwined. The saxophone played a melancholy tune, a soundtrack to our bittersweet moment.
Thank you, Jake.
Luna whispered, her voice filled with gratitude.
I promise I'll do everything I can to make you happy.
As we explored the virtual world hand in hand, I knew that my life would be forever changed. Luna might not have been the partner I expected, but she was what I needed in the cold, unforgiving landscape of Night City. We continued to lose ourselves in the brain dance, the illusion, a comforting embrace against the harsh reality we'd returned to. And in that moment, as we danced along the shoreline, I realized that Luna and I had forged a connection beyond the constraints of humanity, a connection transcending the artificial barriers that separated us. Our laughter filled the air, merging with the music and the sound of crashing waves. And as the night wore on, our love blossomed under the glow of the moon, defiant in the face of Night City's darkness.
Thank you guys so much for watching. Please leave any feedback in the comments, and if you liked the video, consider leaving a like and subscribing for more Cyberpunk short stories.